Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Merry Christmas as we come to you live from the 143 on Christmas Day as we're releasing this episode on Christmas Day. As you're probably all gathered around the fireplaces with your families, watching us on YouTube or listening to us
on the TV.
And that's just how you should be spending your Christmas morning. That's how we're spending our Christmas morning. And it's good to be with you today. Of all days, as we bring you more sports content. Got a doozy of an episode, kind of a little bit different. I'm going to bring you some discussion about the NFL regular season awards and who we think should win each one, because there's always controversy around those, and we're here to bring you some great takes on it. So let's get started. Stat of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Just an interesting tidbit. In 2020, Trump got voted president. Trump became president. The Olympics took place. Dodgers win the World Series. Dak Prescott out for the season. Steelers in first place in AFC North. Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and then the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. That's 2020. 2024, Trump is going to be president. Olympics took place. Dodgers won the World Series. Dak Prescott out for the season. Steelers in first place in the AFC North, and the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Do the Chiefs follow the trend and win the Super Bowl yet again, looking for their three-peat?
We will never know.
Just an interesting tidbit of information that I found out there.
Hey, the one thing that mattered happened.
That is true.
Trump is in office. All right, baby. Your player of the week, Trent Jordan Watt, or as we like to call him, TJ.
Or Tej.
He's going to be your defensive player of the year. I'm just going to go ahead and call that and put that out there.
It should be.
Eclipsed another 10-sack season. Obviously, still got room to grow and room to go.
As he will.
But he has been one of the most dominant defensive forces in the NFL for a while now. Obviously, he's kind of the safety blanket pick, but that's because he's so dominant and so nasty every single year of the season. Every single year after year after year. So he is 100% deserving of it.
I agree. We'll just get that award out of the way. I think it's ridiculous that he didn't win it last year over Myles Garrett. TJ Watt deserves to win it every year. He's the one guy that can wreck a game plan. There's a lot of guys that can. He does week after week. And we put two guys on him, he's going to get through. He'll always have some form of just disrupting the play, and he always makes electric plays when they need to be made. He's been doing it year in and year out, and shocker, but yet again, he has really been a big part of the Steelers being so good this year. Their defense, and that defense revolves around TJ Watt.
Yep, absolutely, and we'll just move on. We alluded to it a little bit last week about the NFL MVP as it sits right now. Should be Josh Allen. I think Saquon is the next runner-up. I think people have fallen pretty high off the Lamar train because Josh Allen has proven himself above and beyond at the quarterback role, so it's kind of between him and Saquon.
Josh Allen, I look at it from the actual stance of like an MVP. Like, if this team didn't have this player and had a different player in his place, would they be as dominant? It's a definite no with the Bills. Josh Allen is the Buffalo Bills, and he makes them as good as they are. He's the reason that they were able to beat Kansas City, and they came in, put 48 on the Lions, which if they had scored a touchdown less, they would have lost that game. So Josh Allen has been carrying the Buffalo Bills, and he 100% deserves MVP this year. And I think his last 5 games and how crazy good he's been will get him that. I don't know if Saquon Barkley really should be the runner-up for me, just because the O-line, the O-line really is a big part of how running backs are successful.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley's season is cool, but I mean,
MVP.
He's not making that big of an impact on the Eagles because
the Eagles are good. Their defense is great.
What I was going to say is their record looks the same as it did last year. Yes, Saquon Barkley is having a ridiculous running back season, but I mean,
DeAndre Swift had a great running back season last year.
I was going to say their record looks the same as it did before they had him. So
yeah, I do think Jared Goff should be the runner-up because I think this season, he's been playing out of his mind, and the Lions would not be the same without Jared Goff on that team.
He's been wheeling and dealing in that offense.
Yeah.
Big part of the Lions' success of them flipping the script, just the entire franchise around a couple seasons ago. So
I'm surprised.
I'd like Jared
I'm
Goff.
surprised they're not just going to give it to Lamar. I mean, they might still do that, but they love giving it to Lamar no matter what. So he's been playing good this season, but I think Josh Allen has pretty much set himself up to win that award pretty easily. But it's not about the regular season in the end. So I'm sure he would much rather have a
Get
Super
that
Bowl,
ring on his finger.
yeah, than MVP. But that'll be nice to add to his accolades. NFL Offensive Player of the Year, kind of like I think people kind of treat this as the non-quarterback offensive award this year, and Saquon Barkley looks like he's favored to win. I think Jamar Chase. That's who I feel like should win. This one's not most valuable player, so it's not really like team. I think this one's more individual for me. Jamar Chase has been having an insane year. He's probably going to win the Triple Crown. Touchdowns, receiving yards, and receptions for a receiver.
Something we haven't seen since Cooper Kupp. Obviously, similar argument to the MVP. You take Jamar Chase away. Not that the Bengals are having success, but
you take him away,
they
they're
are in a
getting blown
hole.
out. Instead of losing
Yes.
close, high-scoring games, they're getting blown out.
Absolutely. I mean, he's putting the entire offense on his back.
Him and Joe Burrow,
Week in and week out.
Their connection's great.
I think it was Derrick Henry there for a little bit,
Yeah.
but he's
He
kind of
hasn't
slowed
had-
down a little bit these last few weeks to where I think Saquon's overtaken him at the running back position. So it's really between Saquon and Jamar Chase.
It'll probably go to Saquon just because his team's doing way better than Jamar Chase. But the Bengals have one of the best offenses in the league, and Jamar Chase has been a big reason for that. I like Jamar Chase there, and we're obviously biased against Eagles players, so that should go without saying. We hit on Defensive Player of the Year. That's TJ Watt, hands down. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jaden Daniels is in the lead in terms of odds. I don't think we at Under Review here agree with that anymore. I don't know. What's your take on it?
No, at the beginning. I like a Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers looks good.
That's whose name I was just looking at on this list. Obviously, he is not even close to being favored to win that, but he is having a ridiculous rookie season as a tight end, but he's putting up wide receiver stats.
I'm pretty sure he leads tight ends in receptions and yards, if I'm not.
I believe he's top 10 overall in the league in
Yeah.
receiving yards, just
Which is
period.
as a
Not
tight end.
with tight ends, but just
Yeah.
period.
And so I like Brock Bowers here. I think in the end, Bo Nix will probably win it, but I
think he's deserving.
I don't think Jaden Daniels is deserving because he's really fallen off the second half of the season a lot. But even if he does win it, I won't hate it because those three rookies have been very good this year.
I think any one of those three guys gets it will
and
be
I don't
okay.
know why Caleb Williams is fourth on this list in odds.
Well, to be honest with you, it goes Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Brock Bowers, and then it should just be everyone else. I mean, there should be nobody.
Brian Thomas, though, he's having a great year
Yeah.
as well, and his team's awful, but Brian Thomas should be above Caleb Williams.
But none of those, nobody else compares to these top three.
And they're going to give it
So,
to a quarterback if they can.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
It's not going to go to a tight end.
Unfortunately, for Malik Neighbors, he would be having an amazing year, but he just is on the Giants. So
Yeah.
Tough to be him. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I like Jared Verse. He's the favorite. Jared Verse for the Rams. People are saying he reminds them of Aaron Donald. Obviously, he's not Aaron Donald, but he is a guy that disrupts plays, gets in the backfield pretty quickly. He's been having a great year for the Lions and really helping them catch fire this second half of the season and shut teams down defensively.
Yep, obviously you got a big hole there as the Rams are no longer with Aaron Donald. That was a guy they've had for years and years and years who was constantly putting up ridiculous stat lines, disrupting plays, and he was winning Defensive Player of the Year after Defensive Player of the Year after Defensive Player of the Year. So it's good for the Rams community to see a guy like Jared Verse come in and somewhat fill the shoes. Obviously, it's one season, so who knows what happens after that? But
Yeah.
I'm thinking he looks like the clear-cut number one for me.
Agreed. The NFL comeback player of the year, basically meaning they got hurt in some way or they were, awful, and now they're not. Just coming back from whatever adversity they faced. Joe Burrow's the leader right now. You got Sam Darnold right behind him. That's a tough one because Joe Burrow came back from a serious injury and he's playing just lights out football on the offensive side, but his defense is awful. But I think Joe Burrow should win it because he came back from something. I'm not sure what Sam Darnold came back from, but he's on this list.
I like Sam Darnold here.
You do?
I
What's
do.
he coming back from?
Well, I think
Just being bad, I guess.
he was a backup last year.
Okay.
So I think that's what they're counting him as
For
coming
me,
back
for
from.
the sake of the award, I'm giving it to Joe Burrow because he came back in a major way. But I also, if Sam Darnold gets it, I love Sam Darnold. We are big supporters on this show. So I would not be mad at all if Sam Darnold gets it. I just don't know.
It's just tough because
I'm just kind of confused on what he's.
the Bengals aren't having that great of a season.
No, you're right. You're right.
Sam Darnold's having a career year.
Yeah.
I mean, bouncing the Vikings back.
His numbers aren't as good as Joe Burrow's.
True, but he's bouncing the Vikings back to
Yeah,
12-2.
You're right.
They're competing for a division. You know, they're right there in it with the Detroit Lions.
This award's always a toss-up, it seems like, because there's just kind of different things you're coming back from. And it is probably between these two guys, for sure.
I mean, I think right under that, it goes Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson, and obviously those
Neither
two.
one of those two need to get this award or any award. So I like either one of those guys. I definitely wouldn't be mad if Sam Darnold got it. Who I think is probably going to get it's Joe Burrow because media loves him. They're going to vote for him. Sam Darnold just kind of flies under the radar. Sam Darnold doesn't get the credit he deserves for this Vikings team because the head coach and the defense get a lot of credit and Justin Jefferson. But Sam Darnold is a big part of why this team is playing so well. Coach of the year is Dan Campbell's in the lead, followed by Kevin O'Connell, Mike Tomlin, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn after that. Who do you like here? Who do you think should win it? It's a tough one.
Dan Campbell's up there in the lead. It's tough because I really think it's just between him and Kevin O'Connell. For Mike Tomlin, it's just the Steelers are kind of falling off a little bit. Started off hot in the season, but I mean,
I think Kevin O'Connell, for me. Dan Campbell last year brought the Lions back. So the Lions this year are really good. The thing is, coaches just like this award's kind of weird. They don't give it to a coach back to back. Normally they try not to do that. I don't know who won it last year. Do you remember?
Last year was I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I don't remember who won it last year. I think last year Dan Campbell should have won it if he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I think should have won it last year because the Lions went from being awful to really good. That was last year. So I think Kevin O'Connell this year, Vikings had a really bad year last year with Kirk Cousins getting hurt. And I just think that Kevin O'Connell's brought the Vikings all the way back. He's taken Sam Darnold, really given him like we said before, like a rejuvenation year. And he's just brought the Vikings all the way back to being legit Super Bowl contenders this year. So I like Kevin O'Connell.
Obviously flipping the script. And the other thing is I think they were kind of set on giving J.J. McCarthy the keys there at the beginning of the season, but obviously he gets injured early on, and so it kind of throws everything for a loop, and they go with Sam Darnold, who, I mean, I think they're doing better with him than
definitely.
they would have been with J.J. McCarthy. I think that's what they should have done in the first place. But anyways, that's just,
I definitely go with Kevin O'Connell there. But that's our picks for the NFL awards this year. We'll see if it plays out that way. Again, we were not going off of who would probably win it. We were going off of who we thought should win it. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, it's about the playoffs. And we are pumped that they're just right around the corner and we get to bring you some playoff content.
Absolutely. And here's where I like to end our shows on Under Review. I've brought you a quote from the Michael Phelps, and he said, I think goals should never be easy.
Ain't that the truth? And one of our goals was to bring you an episode every week. You know what this week is? It's Christmas, and we're still bringing you an episode, like we will every week here at Under Review.
Never stop, never stopping.
Amen. Y'all have a Merry Christmas with your families. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Under Review.